What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer. A new Mathmech card was announced, and seems to be getting a lot of buzz. I think Farfa made a tweet saying it was like the most broken piece of support he's ever seen. So I guess we'll have to check it out, and then I'm going to look at every other Mathmech card that's ever been released. Not that many cards, so anytime a new card comes out, you guys know I like to go look at the old cards and see how it all fits together. I like to read the new card first to judge it as objectively as possible, and then kind of see how it fits in. But this is Mathmec Circular. This is a level 4. I'm sure, yeah, there's this whole Cybers archetype, so which makes things really interesting because there's a searcher. Obviously, there's an Omni searcher for Cybers monsters in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh!, which I'm sure will at some point be limited. There can only be so many Cybers cards before that card becomes really, really good. But yeah, that's pretty nice. So you can send one Mathmech monster from your deck to the graveyard, except a copy of this card. Special summon this card from your hand. So it's a free special summon right off the bat. Not even normal summoning, which is kind of insane. Also, you can only attack with one monster for the rest of this turn, assuming this is probably a card that's mainly meant for going first. And I know that actually the Mathmech Synchro within the archetype, the one that's unaffected by monster effects, it can get a big boosted attack in this deck. So you're normally investing all of your Mathmech monsters into a big monster. That's about as much as I know about the archetype. So that's not really too big of an issue, at least theoretically. If another Mathmech monster is normal or special summoned to your field while you control this monster, you can add one Mathmech Spell or Trap from your deck to your hand. I mean, you haven't used your normal summon, so and I'm imagining there's probably a lot of ways to special summon, in Mathmechs. So this is a Foolish Burial, plus like a Engage is like kind of the wrong word to use for it because it's only spells and traps. So I guess it's kind of like Magician's Rod, but you don't have to normal summon it. That's obviously very good. Foolish Burial is limited for a reason, and then being able to search on top of it is just a bonus effect. So obviously this card is pretty darn nuts. And then, so yeah, that's about all I have to say about it. But look at the rest of them. I know one of their XYZ monsters is really, really good. And what I'm thinking, I have to look because this doesn't lock you into anything. Not Cybers monsters, not Mathmech monsters. So if the other ones don't do that, what's stopping anybody from making a Cybers deck? So if you normal summon at least one more, you get another Mathmech in the graveyard. That means you could potentially do the whole like link play that Cybers Eldritch does, except facilitating it through Mathmechs while also having that trap card, meaning that you'll get some disruption during your opponent's turn on top of it. I don't know for sure yet. I have to look at the rest of the cards. But when I saw this, that's kind of what I thought about. This is MathMech Division. You contribute one Cybers monster you control in the extra monster zone. Special summon up to one level 4 Cybers monster from your hand and graveyard. That gives you 3 materials, which is interesting. So this will be like a normal summon target, pretty much. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one face-up monster on the field. Its attack becomes halved until the end of the turn. This is actually interesting because if you were to like link one off, because I know there's like, I'd have to look at like some of the Cybers link ones. Let me do that real quick. I don't know if they have to have like a certain level because these are all level 4s because like I think their Exede monsters are level 4. And let's go ahead and go to Cybers because that would obviously make a pretty big difference. Okay, this is a normal monster. This is a level 4 or lower Cybers monster, so right off the bat, you do have a target for any of these. So you could technically special summon this, because this just says Cybers. You could basically get this off the field, normal summon this, tribute the Salamangreat Bailings. There might be a better target, I'm not sure, like Devotee. No, never mind. These are all super duper generic, level 4 or lower. So this really goes along with what I've been talking about when it comes to the Dagda combo. This only locks you in the Devotee only locks you into link 2s, which isn't a problem at all. So I'm really thinking that this might be a real thing. But okay, we'll keep going here. This is Mathmech Diameter. When this card is normal summoned, you can target one level 4 Cybers monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but it cannot activate its effects. A Mathmech monster that was synchro summoned or Exede summoned using this card on the field as material gains this effect. Once per turn, during the turn this card was special summoned, when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can negate that activation? What? So that's obviously very good. This is like a going second deck too, I guess, because it has to be the turn it's special summoned. Assuming you get that far into it. But an Omni negate Oh, yeah. Any card, huh? Yeah, it's just literally an Omni Negate, which could maybe protect you from certain plays. So that's kind of cool. If this had Link Summoning, obviously that would just be like the most overpowered card ever. This is Mathmech Sigma. If you control no monsters in the extra monster zone while this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can in the graveyard you can special summon it, but banish it when it leaves the field, or if you use it as XYZ material, it doesn't. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except Cyberus monsters. Now Dagda, I'm 99% sure, is not a Cyberus monster. It's a fairy monster. So again, not saying that's the only combo that you want to go through, but that would technically stop you from doing it. This is the only one that locks you into that so far. If this, let's see, okay. You can only use this effect once per turn. If this card you control is used as sync material for a Mathmech monster, you can treat it as a non-tuner. Definitely helps. Okay, so this is Mathmech Nabla. You can tribute one Cyberus monster, especially one Mathmech monster from your deck. What is up with this archetype, man? This is nuts. I feel like these cards are really good. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one Cyberus monster you control in the extra monster zone. It can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. So one of them I know boosts. I'm pretty sure boosts attack, and this one gives you 2 attacks. So Final Sigma is definitely it's a pretty good boss monster just in general. Especially if it gets boosted and unaffected, like a 6,000 attack or something like that, whatever it ends up being. That's so hard to get rid of, right? That's the win condition of Adignister, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to Arrival Adignister. And this is kind of like it's a better version of that, at least within the archetype. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Okay. This is Mathmech Subtraction. You can target one face-up monster in the field. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn, except Cyberus monsters. Also, special summon this card from your hand. But it cannot attack this turn. Who cares? It's 1,000 attack. And if you do, the targeted monster loses 1,000 attack until the end of this turn. Kind of interesting. A little bit like the worst card that I've read so far. Mathmech Edition. You can target one face-up monster in the field. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn, except Cyberus monsters. Also, special summon this card from your hand, but it cannot attack this turn. And if you do, the targeted monster gains 1,000 attack until the end of the turn. Again, these are kind of just like meh to me. I feel like there's definitely better effects out there. I feel like the other ones have really been a lot better. And this is Mathmech Multiplication. Kind of cool. You are doing math in this deck, so that's interesting. You can target one level 4 Cyberus monster you control. Its level becomes 8 until the end of this turn. Okay. That's pretty weird. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one Cyberus monster you control in the extra monster node. Its attack becomes double. So this one doesn't Xeno-lock you. Is that what it's called, Xeno-locking? Into like Cyberus monsters or anything like that. I don't really know what the effect would be good for, like for the level 8. If it doesn't make both cards level 8, that's kind of... Oh, it's probably for synchro summoning. That would make a lot more sense because Mathmech Final Sigma is a level 12. And these are level 4. Never mind. Math is hard. Maybe this isn't the archetype for me, right? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, going on to the spell cards. Target one Mathmech monster in your graveyard. Special summon it. And if you do, it gains 1,000 attack until the end of this turn. That's all right. You know what? That's pretty good, all things considered. Especially because that means one Mathmech monster, literally one Mathmech monster is equal to the entire Cyberus combo. With a Dagda plus, not VFD, Enforcer and Phoenix. So probably actually something you would play. Mathmech Blade. That's a really cool name. Equip only to a Cyberus monster. If the equipped monster battles an opponent's monster by battle, during damage calculation, you can send one Mathmech monster from your deck to the graveyard. The equipped monster gains an attack equal to the sent monster's attack until the end of this turn. Which at most is 1,000, I'm guessing. 1,500. The new one's 1,500. All right. If this card is sent from the spell and trap zone to the graveyard, you can target one Mathmech card in your graveyard. Add it to your hand. None of these... I mean, this one's okay. You can obviously... If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a side. So, like, some of these have trigger effects, like, once they hit the graveyard, but... Nothing... nothing that great, I don't think. You could target one... Yeah, I mean, that makes it half, so... It's decent, but I don't know. It just kind of doesn't feel that necessary. Maybe I'm wrong. Target up to... this is a trap card. Mathmech Super Factorial. Target up to 3 Mathmech monsters in your graveyard, different names, then activate one of these effects. So you're already getting 2 with this one card. Special summon them, but their effects are negated. Then immediately after this effect resolves, synchro summon one Mathmech Synchro monster using those monsters, and shuffle the materials into the deck instead of sending them to the graveyard. Special summon them, but their effects are negated. Then immediately after this effect resolves, exit summon one Mathmech monster using only those monsters. Very cool, obviously. And this just gets better because of, I don't know how long these have been out necessarily, but I'm thinking like this was before, because you want to put this in the extra monster zone. Like that's just kind of how it works. And then you can like special summon these. So like you're probably doing a certain play, and then you have this. What I'm thinking is if you can do the Dagda plus DPE combo, and then you get to search this card out, you're getting some, like either getting a really good synchro, or you're getting one of these, which I think is really good. So that's awesome. Like this is just this card becomes infinitely better now because there's 6 copies. You're gonna have 3 copies of this, and then 3 copies of the card that searches it. And what is that monster that Salmigrates use? It's an effect monster. It is Cybers. I don't know if I'll be able to. I'm not going to look that hard for it. I know it's a 4. There's only 63 results. Can I find it? Yo, Lady Debug. It's a level 3 or lower Cybers monster. Curses! That would be too good, right? Having 9 copies of your best play starter. That would be too good. I was so close. This is the card I was thinking of. But, you know, beggars can't be choosers. All right. So let's look at this last one here. This is the Mathmech Induction. All Cybers monsters control gain 500 attack. If you control a Mathmech monster, you can send this face-up card from the field to the graveyard. The target one card your opponent controls, destroy it. I mean, maybe you play a copy of this in case you hard open this one and you want to have something else to search. Maybe. I mean, that's popping a card on the field isn't the worst thing in the world, but it's all right. That's fine. It's a very decent card. Obviously, popping a card in your opponent controls DP is very good. Like that's why people think that effect is pretty decent. But if you're doing that combo line, then I don't know how necessary this card is. Although I guess you get 2 pops. Meh. All right. Final Sigma. Most people know what this card is, but it's unaffected by monster effects or any card effects while it's in the extra monster zone. Any battle damage it inflicts your opponent is doubled as well. If this card is destroyed by battle or in its card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you could add 1 Mathmech card from deck to hand. So a lot of people like to generically make this, but it's even better, obviously, in Mathmech cards. How it would be destroyed by card effect when it's unaffected by cards, I don't know, but still, I mean, if your opponent does get rid of it, you got a lot of follow. You have so much follow-up now because of how much this card does. I don't even know what the other synchro does. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can target up to 2 cards your opponent controls, destroy them. Yo, that's pretty good. A generic 8 too. I've like never seen this card. Huh. If this card is destroyed by battle, or an opponent's card is, or if it's destroyed by card effects, you can add 1 Mathmech Spell, trap from your deck to your hand. So, Mathmech's pretty decent. Okay, so these are the targets here. You can. This is Prime Mathmech or Primathmech. Albumation, Almipetition. I don't know how to say words. You contribute 1 monster, special summon 1 level 4 Mathmech monster from your hand or graveyard. Crazy. If this card is XYZ summon or XZ summon, you can detach 2 to 4 materials, then activate the appropriate effects. 2, add 1 Mathmech card from your deck to your hand. Pretty good. Add 1 level 4 monster from your. Add any level 4. Really? That's crazy. And then if you detach 4, you can add 1 spell or trap from your deck to your hand. That is so nuts. Huh. That's just really good, I guess. I don't know. That's awesome. Sure. You can only use each of the crazy thing is like you can pretty much detach 4 and then like you'll have your plays, right? Like you're gonna search that card out. Which I don't know, it kind of feels like you're just like not plussing at all. Other than the fact that when these hit the graveyard they have certain effects. So that one's okay, but I think this one's even like way better. If a Mathmech card you control would be destroyed by card effect, you can detach 1 material from this card instead. Okay. If this card is exceed summon, you can detach 3 materials from it, then choose that many effects. You do not choose the same effects twice, and you can resolve them in the listed order, skipping any that were not chosen. Okay, interesting. I'm going to read that one more time. If a Mathmech card, okay, if this card is XC summon, you can attach up to 3 materials from it, then choose that many effects. You cannot choose the same effect twice, and you resolve them in the listed order, skipping any that were not chosen. So you have to do them, okay. Send 1 random card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard. Send 1 monster your opponent controls to the graveyard. Send 1 spell and trap your opponent controls to the graveyard. Now, the interesting thing about this, and if you really do go through the combo, you know, in the standby phase, you would likely activate this to go into here. So technically, you're going to have the Dagda combo with DPE right off the bat. Your opponent is Scythe locked, right? And if you do this in the standby phase, your opponent is then going to be starting with, if they're going second, they'd be starting with 5 cards. So they'd be going even while being Scythe locked. Now, you could wait, and then maybe have even more disruptions, like 3 forms of disruption, which would be pretty cool, which probably is a better thing to do, but that's just awesome. I think, from what I've read, that is super cool. Like, this would be a really good just Cybers deck, I think, in general. So that's awesome. I think there's probably other things you can do. You could probably go into IP Masquerena for additional, setup. Like, I think there's like real things going on here, and I think people have been failing to realize, especially now, that not being Xeno locked and having the Cybers engine is really good. Especially now when everything is generic, where Dagda is generic, where DPE is about as generic as humanly possible. And even when it's not, I'm sure there's still other shenanigans. Like, the extra deck is such a toolbox right now. We are in such a pile deck format, and I think this fits in there, and I think it adds something to it as well. This is something I'm very interested in, obviously. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Other than that, that's going to do it for today's video, and I will see you guys next time.